It's kind of wild when you stop and think about it. How does a plant, something that's literally rooted to the spot, make its own food out of nothing but air, water, and a little bit of sunshine? Well, today we're going to crack open the secret recipe that basically powers all life on Earth. So let's just start with that simple question. Plants, they just sit there, right? They don't go hunting, they don't graze in a field. So how in the world do they get the energy to live and grow? Basically, how do plants eat? And right there, that's the fundamental difference. Animals, like us, we're consumers. We have to go out and find our food. But plants? Oh, they're producers. They are the planet's master chefs, cooking up their own meals from scratch. Now, this incredible, world-changing food-making process has a name that you've definitely heard before: photosynthesis. It's truly nature's most brilliant solution for creating energy. So what is photosynthesis, really? Well, in a nutshell, it's the process where plants take super simple raw materials, carbon dioxide from the air we exhale, and water from the ground, and then they use the energy from sunlight to magically transform them into carbohydrates. And you can just think of carbohydrates as pure, energy-packed sugar. It's plant food. The best way to get this is to think of it like a recipe. Seriously, photosynthesis needs very specific ingredients. It needs an energy source to get things cooking, and it needs a very special tool to make the magic happen. So let's break that recipe down. All right, here are the key components. For our ingredients, the plant breathes in carbon dioxide right from the air, then it drinks up water through its roots in the soil. The energy source, that's the oven, is sunlight. And the special tool, the master chef that brings it all together, that's a little molecule called chlorophyll. Okay, so what exactly is this chlorophyll stuff? Well, it's the green pigment inside plant cells. It's literally why plants are green. But its job is way more important than just color. Chlorophyll is like a microscopic solar panel. It's the thing that actually soaks up the energy from sunlight, capturing that power so the chemical reaction can kick off. So when you get right down to it, the whole recipe is one simple, elegant transformation. You take carbon dioxide and water, you use the light energy captured by that chlorophyll, and voila, you get two main things: glucose, which is the sugar that fuels the plant, and then there's this other byproduct: oxygen. We'll circle back to that one. And for those of you who want to see the actual chemistry, check this out. The recipe is perfectly balanced. It takes 6 molecules of carbon dioxide and 6 molecules of water, and that creates one single precious molecule of glucose, the plant's food, and 6 molecules of oxygen. Okay, so the plant made its food. It's got glucose. Awesome. But the story doesn't stop there. I mean, a baker doesn't just make a huge pile of sugar and then stare at it, right? Nope. The plant has a bunch of different plans for all this fuel it just made. So let's think about this for a second. The plant has made its primary fuel, this simple sugar called glucose. But a plant has a lot of different jobs to do. It needs energy right now, it needs to store energy for later, it needs building materials to grow taller. So how does it use this one product to do all of that? Well, this glucose is incredibly versatile. Some of it gets burned immediately for instant energy. That's a process called respiration. A whole lot of it gets converted into starch and stored away for a rainy day, kind of like putting food in the pantry. Some of it gets turned into cellulose, which is the tough stuff that builds the plant's cell walls, basically its skeleton. It can also become sucrose, another sugar that's easier to ship to other parts of the plant. And get this, some is even used to make sweet nectar, which is a brilliant way to bribe insects into helping with pollination. Now, just like you and I can't survive on sugar alone, neither can a plant. The food they make is absolutely essential, but they also need to pull some crucial vitamins or minerals out of the soil to really thrive. That's right. So while the leaves are up top, busy making sugar in the sunlight, the roots are down below, working just as hard. They're basically mining the soil for these mineral ions that are just as important for survival as the glucose itself. Let's look at 2 really key examples here. Without nitrates from the soil, a plant can't build proteins. And without proteins, it gets weak, its growth slows down, and its leaves turn yellow. But even more critical, maybe, is magnesium. Remember chlorophyll, those tiny solar panels? Well, magnesium is at the very heart of the chlorophyll molecule. No magnesium means no chlorophyll. And no chlorophyll means the entire photosynthesis factory just grinds to a halt. That's why a lack of magnesium also makes leaves turn yellow. So we've seen how a plant makes its food, but here's the biggest plot twist of all. This whole process is the reason we're all here, And it's all because of something the plant just considers to be trash. Let's go all the way back to our recipe. Carbon dioxide and water go in, glucose and oxygen come out. Now, for the plant, that glucose is the prize. That's the whole point. The oxygen, to the plant, it's just garbage. It's a leftover byproduct that it doesn't need, so it just releases it into the air. And that right there leaves us with a pretty mind-blowing thought. The very gas that we need with every single breath we take is just a plant's leftover waste. What does that tell you about our profound, unbreakable connection to the green world all around us? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning into this explainer.